had working with you as our members. But at any time, if you have questions or want to interject, and maybe there's something I forgot that you remembered, please feel free to do so. Just type your comment in that Q&A box, and Lori will bring it to my attention, and we can discuss it from there. I'm going to get started with this presentation, and just due to bandwidth, I'm going to go ahead and turn my video off. But I believe at this time you guys should all be able to see my screen. Lori, can you just confirm that you're able to see?
Yes, we can
my
see.
Screen here?
Yes,
okay.
We're good.
All right, awesome. So we're just going to jump into it. And as you know, our 10-year journey really started back in 2012 when America Makes program was first awarded. And if you think back to 2012 and where you were as a country, you'll remember that we were nearing the end of the third industrial revolution. And we realized that there was a lot of manufacturing taking place around the world, but not a lot of manufacturing taking place inside the United States. And because of that, the US industrial base was not very competitive. Because of this particular circumstance, the US saw an opportunity to reshore jobs by becoming a leader in digital manufacturing and in the fourth industrial revolution. And in 2012, in an effort to regain manufacturing competitiveness, the US decided to design a network of institutes called Manufacturing USA that would focus on advancing technologies inside of the United States. Then in early 2013, during the State of the Union address, the president announced the launch of the first institute, which was America Makes. And you could see his quote here, where he says, "Our first priority is making America a magnet for new jobs in manufacturing, and 3D printing has the potential to revolutionize the way that we make almost anything." And with that, America Makes became the flagship institute that would serve the purpose of accelerating the adoption of additive manufacturing and increase domestic competitiveness. So if you think back to the structure of how we were first composed, America Makes was designed as a public-private partnership, which meant that we received support and investments from both the public and private sectors with the intent to share resources and knowledge so that together we could be successful in coordinating the advancement of additive manufacturing inside the United States. We were unique because we were a multi-agency collaboration. This means that when we were first set up, we were sponsored by multiple agencies that you can see here on the screen, such as the Department of Defense, Commerce and Energy, as well as NASA and FAA, whereas other Manufacturing US institutes were sponsored by one agency each. As you all know, we're membership-based, and the voice of our membership drives the direction of our membership. And lastly, the America Makes program was awarded to the National Center for Defense Manufacturing and Machining, and that's the entity that drives the program today as well. So early on, there were three parts to the vision of America Makes. The first was to have a strong foundation that was rooted in the Manufacturing USA network with a specific focus on additive manufacturing. The second was to have a simple plan where we were able to bring the nation's most brilliant minds together to work on how to advance the adoption of additive. And the third was the goal to take the additive manufacturing advancements into the mainstream so that we'd be able to solve real world problems and create jobs to reaffirm our place in the global market. Well, on the surface, this appeared to be a fairly easy task. What we found over the last 10 years is that this vision for the Institute is very complex. And the reason is because we have actually had to create an environment where competitors were able to come to the table and work together, and where the public and private sectors would come together to leverage each other's advancements and feel comfortable sharing important information. But all this had to be done so that we could be successful in coordinating the advancement of additive manufacturing inside the United States. All this in mind really forced us to evaluate who we were going to be and define the roles of America Makes moving forward. I want to just take a quick second here to look at the Manufacturing USA Institute and how it's grown over time. So, of course, back in 2012, we were the first institute. Today, there's 16 institutes. This is just a snapshot of what the network looks like. Keep in mind, there's 2 institutes not reflected here. But if you'd like more information on the network as it stands today, you could take a look at manufacturingusa.com. So now moving forward into who America Makes has become. Over the years, we've settled into 3 primary roles, and you guys have probably all heard these 3 catchphrases, but the first role was being a convener. So This is where we've been bringing various types of stakeholders together to really grow and expand the additive manufacturing ecosystem. The second role is being a coordinator, and this is where we've created roadmaps and an infrastructure to connect people with information developments in the industry. And the third is by being a catalyst. And this is where we work with our membership and partners to do research and drive interaction through high value, high difficulty, and high impact collaborative projects that align to our roadmaps. So now just a little bit of history of how we've successfully fulfilled each of these roles. The first one here is as a convener. And again, this is where we've been bringing various types of stakeholders together. We've done this by cultivating a robust membership that represents organizations from industry, academia, and government. This chart highlights a couple of milestones for our membership, and you see that in 2015 we reached 100 members, and in 2018 we exceeded 200 members. Today we're right around the 235 mark, and we see that continuing to grow. Also, as a convener, America Makes has done a really nice job of providing events to the membership community. In our early days, we used to have program management reviews, and these would actually take place on a quarterly basis. So we'd have several of these throughout the year, and they were rather small, intimate events, and they were closed off to members only. So unfortunately, if you were not a member of America Makes, you couldn't attend these events. However, they were very, very successful, but as we continued to grow and our membership continued to get bigger, we introduced what you guys know as Technical Review and Exchange, or TRX, in 2016. And what was unique about this event was it was the first time that America Makes decided to host these events outside of Youngstown, Ohio, and actually take those to a member's location. And these events focused on the technical brief out of project activity that again aligned back to our technology roadmap. Another unique thing about the TRX events was this was the first time that we opened our doors to non-members. So we were able to really start engaging with people that were outside of our membership community, but had an interest in understanding who we were and wanted to get involved. And then in 2018, we rebranded our program reviews as members meeting and exchanges. And this event has actually become our largest event with pretty robust agendas that usually include keynotes, multiple discussions, lots of discussions around standards, there's awards, and also a lot of out briefings about the America Makes operations and a lot of discussion about the impact of the Institute and future steps of the Institute. Over time, these America Makes events have become a key component of keeping our members engaged. So when 2020 came around and we had to go virtual, we knew that we had to transition to a virtual event platform very quickly in order to keep up with the momentum and keep our members engaged. And we were able to successfully do that by utilizing the Remo platform. And through that platform, we were able to continue to host our TRX, MMX, and virtual game days all virtually, which really helped to keep our members connected and networking all throughout the pandemic. So we're really thankful that that platform was available to us. The next thing as a convener that America Makes has done successfully is establish satellite centers. So these centers have been deployed to function as an extension of the America Makes program with a purpose of accelerating the adoption of additive manufacturing, but in different geographical regions across the US. The first satellite center was identified in 2015 at the University of Texas, El Paso. And in 2019, we identified two other satellite centers, one at the Wichita State University at NIAR and the other at the Texas A&M University at TEAS. And lastly, as a convener, America Makes has done a great job of establishing advisory and working groups. For example, we have a roadmap advisory group and roadmap swim lane working groups. The folks that participate in these working groups or in these groups in general are dedicated to the development and maintenance of our technical roadmap. And as you know, that the work that they do there facilitates topics for our future project call. Another good example of a group that we have established is the government relations group. The purpose of this advisory group is to educate and work with local, state, and federal government and to ensure the alignment of legislative and regulatory goals to support the broader mission of the Institute. So there's a lot of good work here. And this is really work that America Makes has done through the membership. And it just goes to show that bringing all these folks together really results in some good things and good opportunities for the industry. So the next role here is America Makes as a coordinator. And in this capacity, America Makes has executed a systems engineering approach to developing roadmaps that identify needs and gaps that need to be addressed. In this capacity, we've also connected technical and workforce data that's really helped to transform the industry. Some key milestones here include the development of our technology roadmap, which took place in 2014. This was the first version of the roadmap, and it was anchored by in-person workshops that featured a lot of facilitation techniques. So we had a lot of in-person workshops take place at America Makes in Youngstown, where our members traveled in, and they really did a nice job of working through these activities to put this roadmap together. And then in 2016, we used a similar methodology to deploy our first education and workforce roadmap. Then in 2017, America Makes partnered with the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, to establish the Additive Manufacturing Standards and Specification Collaborative, also known as AMSC. And in 2017, the first version of the standardization roadmap was developed. And then as we think about how we connect all this great work, in 2015, America Makes launched a digital storefront. And this was really significant because for the first time, this platform provided a live connection of data to the America Makes roadmaps. It connected all the projects, their deliverables, and associated artifacts to the roadmap through requirements. And this has really served as a powerful tool for the membership, which has enabled them to access, search, and discover assets, and really from a diverse set of stakeholders. And then lastly, as a coordinator in 2020, and in response to COVID-19, America Makes launched the Advanced Manufacturing Crisis Program Response, where America Makes took the lead on convening the manufacturing ecosystem, coordinating roles, resources, and tools to deliver an online portal with designs that were used to print PPE. This particular initiative was nominated for a 3D Printing Industry Award and received the NIH Directors Award. And for our final role as a catalyst, this is where we've worked with industry to deliver and execute collaborative projects that provide high value and high impact. And a little bit of history here, in 2012, America Makes launched its first formal project call. Projects were competitively awarded on an annual basis to the members using public and private funds, and these projects addressed topics that were prioritized from our member-driven technology roadmap. In 2020, we introduced a new type of project called Rapid Innovation Calls, which are projects that are awarded on a much more frequent basis with a shorter period of performance duration. Over time, our project portfolio has really grown and matured. As of today, we have over 225 technical projects that have been funded through the Institute, and currently 53 of those projects are underway. And our workforce and education has over 225 projects that have been funded through the Institute, and currently have about 15 active projects. Our total project portfolio today is valued a little over 200 million also. So as we kind of move forward now and think about where America Makes is going, we've really had a lot of success and a lot of momentum with our members, and our membership model to date has really been successful, and it's allowed all this great work to take place. But as we move into the future and celebrate our 10th year, we're taking a step back to evaluate our membership. So many of you are probably familiar with Membership Model 2.0. This is an effort that we've been working through with our membership to gather feedback and ideas for how we might be able to enhance our membership model. It's not necessarily a significant or drastic change to the model as it stands today, but we want to make sure that the model still fulfills the needs that you as the members need, and it's still relevant to the things that are taking place in the industry as a whole. So as we continue to go forward, we are collecting information from you guys on how we can make our membership model better. So at our upcoming MMX, we will ask that if you haven't already participated in a virtual workshop with us, that you stop by the membership lounge and you give us your feedback on how the membership is as it sits today, and what you would like to see implemented in the future to give your organization more benefits and out of the model itself. So this is our timeline for membership model 2.0. We're leading up to MMX. That's where our next data collection session will take place. And then once we've consolidated all the information, we're going to go ahead and present it to the executive board and governance board. And we will, once we get their opinions on things, we'll do a formal rollout to the membership as a whole. And then we'll start to implement any changes or new ideas at the end of the calendar year. And that'll probably take us an entire year to complete. So again, with that said, Lori mentioned this earlier, we're coming up to MMX. This event is going to be our largest. We're anticipating anywhere between 500 to 600 people in attendance. Again, it will take place in Youngstown. It's actually going to be hosted at the Covelli Center, but this is going to be a great event. We haven't had this event in person since 2019, so we're really anxious to get the entire membership community back together. We're going to be celebrating our 10th year anniversary, which will include tours of our newly renovated facility.
Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Is Tiffany?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I can't see that on my screen. So just a couple of comments from me on my end. Thank you, Tiffany, for kind of walking everyone through where we've been and a little bit of the history of the Institute. I think it's been a very exciting past year as we've thought about, just the reality of being around for 10 years. It's caused us to step back and reflect a little bit, to look at where we've been, some of what has been put in place, and through that evaluate where we're going in the future. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about where we're going in the future, and we'll talk a lot more about this at MMX. So encourage everyone to participate and attend MMX if at all possible. It's going to be a fantastic 3 days. We have the two traditional days of MMX with thought-provoking presentations on the 17th and 18th, but we're having something new or maybe expanded from what we typically have, which is going to focus a fair bit more on the community and the ecosystem that's being built here in Youngstown, while creating the opportunity for folks in the area to open their doors to the AM community and bring everyone together in our kind of kickoff celebration on Tuesday evening, the 16th. But over the past year and a half, or almost 2 years now, we've been looking at strategic positioning of the Institute. Where is it that we should be focused moving forward, and what should we be focused on? And the main takeaway from that activity, which was all driven, like everything we try to do at the Institute, by the membership, was in the end to look at doubling down where we've been focused in the past. So focusing on communities where we've been able to address and make an impact, while focusing on the technology development components of what they need. And at the same time, continue to strengthen the strategic relationship that exists with the Department of Defense. So it has been really escalated over the past 3 years, or 2.5 years, as we've received our latest cooperative agreement, which is our third cooperative agreement. But with that, there is strategic investment in the Institute as a component of that. And there is a process now in place for evaluation of the Institute model and making sure that we're staying strategically aligned to the needs of the Department of Defense. But what that has also kind of realized has been the reintroduction of open project calls and the aforementioned rapid innovation calls that Tiffany walked through a little bit. And just so it kind of closes the loop for everyone, those are all ultimately topics that are generated by the membership and by the community. So if you're looking for a way to get engaged and steer the direction of the Institute, it's really about getting engaged in the different advisory and working groups that exist. The topics that you'll see come out very soon in project calls will be topics that have been identified by those individual working groups, both on the tech and the education side. So it has been significant to see this engagement or increased engagement with the DoD, and really the strengthening. They've always been very engaged with us, but it's the strengthening of that strategic relationship. But now we're looking at, where do we go beyond that? What do we do? How do we leverage what has been successful at the Institute and potentially introduce new industry sectors, or at least evaluate where the Institute can make an impact in different industry sectors? And what we're starting that journey. We're in the development of a couple of workshops right now that will at least investigate where the Institute fits in, where additive fits in these different industry sectors. But I think one of the, maybe even more interesting aspects of what we're doing and where we're going, and I think ultimately what the AM community and the manufacturing community needs at large, is a push on the ecosystem development side and the education and workforce development side. We've spent and we've typically talked a lot about the technology portfolio and the work that's been done and the access to information, and ideally that democratization of information so that we can get it out into the hands of the community that needs it. What we're realizing today is that it's still, we're still in a position where not enough people have awareness and education around the technology. So we see, not that we're shifting focus, I think there are new focus areas of the Institute where we've historically spent a tremendous amount of effort on the technology development side of things. Over the years, we've always been engaged in education and workforce development, but I think as we've seen that tech mature, in particular over the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen the real need for training and developing a workforce in that space. And now we're seeing the kind of next phase of that, where we really need to help build the community. We need to build the supply chain. We need to build the small businesses and the large businesses who are focused on additive manufacturing, or at least investigating where additive manufacturing fits into what they're doing and potentially fits into their business models. And at the same time, helping the community learn as a community so that we can share that information. Again, our mission in life is to increase the adoption of additive manufacturing and ensure that the US is globally competitive in this technology. So I think we're seeing those 3 things really come together. And if we look at where we're going in the future, I would say there is a strong concentration on that ecosystem development and education and workforce development component of what we do. And we're never going to stop focusing on the technology development side of things. And I think, if anything, further expand areas where we're hopefully making an impact in that industry and bringing other partners and ultimately growing the ecosystem as a component of that. So extremely exciting time. We have, in the very near term, some project calls that will be announced this fall. We expect to, or hope to, have some more following up. So there's a tremendous amount of activity going on at the Institute that will ultimately be realized into work that the community can get engaged. So please get engaged. Please make sure your voice is heard. Please reach out to our team if you feel that is not being done, or if you have ideas on how to do it better. That is really what we're looking for. It's a big aspect of what we're looking for in Membership Model 2.0, to make sure that we are, as we think about strategic positioning and what we think we collectively as a community need to be focused on, we need to ensure that there is a model for collaboration that supports the needs of the community. And that can include a number of different things, as far as how people can get engaged and what they're willing to share, how they're willing to share it, what the IP model is associated with it. Everything that you could imagine about building a consortium is what we're looking to get feedback from you on. So at this point, I think I'll hand it back over to Tiffany, but it's I can't stress enough, MMX is your best place to come and really see what's going on. We're extremely excited to be doing this again live. We're very excited about transitioning into a new facility that is right downtown in the heart of Youngstown. So if you haven't been around in a while, I guess nobody's been around in the last couple of years, but you know, a lot has changed over the years. This is a really exciting technology to be part of. So welcome you, and I'll hand it over to you, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thanks, John. I appreciate you logging in and sharing the vision for the future of the Institute and where we're going. I see some comments here about the video. It wasn't really working well. There's some audio issues. I'll go ahead and fix that before we post the recording so that you guys can see that. It's also on our YouTube page, so if you want to go out there, you could pull it down and take the virtual tour at any time. Lori, is there anything that you'd like to add before we conclude?
Thank you, John and Tiffany, both of you. I hope you're as excited as we are for our upcoming MMX and our 10th anniversary celebration. If something comes up that you have a question for any of us, please do let us know. You can contact us directly from the website if you do not have our email addresses handy. And at any time, please don't hesitate. Get your questions out there in the member portal, contact us, and we look forward to seeing you in a month here in Youngstown, Ohio. So until next time, we will wish you a great rest of the week.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks, everybody, for your time today.